But for a new tutor, get lots of support and ask lots of questions. I know we say this to students all the time, there's no such thing as a stupid question, but there really isn't when it comes to online. Asked, even sit in on some classes too if you can, if you've got the time, if you're a little bit worried or anxious about starting, sit in on a few classes to see what they're like as well, to see what way other tutors actually teach, and just embrace it, because the best way to actually experience online teaching is to actually do it. So once you get into the room and you start experiencing that, you'll find your own feet, your own, where you're going to fit and what your personality type's like, and how you're going to manage that as well.
Part of my preparation for developing my online notes, I actually did a few extra short courses online on different platforms, just to see what were people doing and what was the style of teaching. And actually, I didn't really intend on fully finishing the courses, but some of them I went quite a way through because the online engagement was so good, and watching other people's approaches, again, like same as I'd found like in DCU, I found that extremely helpful. So it's just really interesting to see what other people were doing and what worked well. I think that was definitely the biggest factor for me in trying to overcome that kind of difficulty.
I think, well, first of all, I encounter the void less now because I have developed strategies. And at the start, when I started teaching online, it was quite unsettling whenever you put a question out there, as you would in a normal class, and there was silence, and you didn't know if somebody had gone to make a cup of tea or if they were sitting there and they were just bored. So what I've done now is that I will make sure I have, well, generally I structure activities into the online classroom. So I will ask students to present their work, and they'll be notified of that in advance. So they might have, say, 2 minutes each to present their key reflections from the previous week, and the virtual mic is passed around. And then I'll have prompt questions in the back pocket, if you like. So if there is silence, I'll throw questions out there. If sometimes you get a cohort that are quite quiet and who may be reluctant to speak, even as they get more comfortable with the technologies, they still may find it more difficult than a face-to-face class. So in those cases, I always have a colleague with me who's generally monitoring the chat room anyway, and I might throw a question out to my colleague and say, do you have any input that you'd like to give us there, so that we keep the conversation going and try and make others feel at ease.